Good afternoon, anyone. I am Michalis Zrikakis. I am the CEO of Dikio AI. Dikio AI is basically an AI-powered legal assistant helping companies and organizations from all different sizes with issues related to compliance. So today, I'll try to demonstrate how specialized AI applications such as Dikio AI can assist companies for these specific use cases. Compliance is a reality. It affects all companies from all different sizes to different degrees. Everyone has seen like a lot of regulation coming from EU for things like privacy, AI data, environment, and so on. And the situation is even more challenging in Greece when we look at our legal landscape and how our laws are structured and made available. So this is a problem. This is a problem for professionals, for lawyers, of course, for legal departments, but also for professionals who need to do business in Greece or EU. It is also a time-consuming process. So you've probably all experienced lead times that it takes for your legal department, for example, to review contracts, right? So contract negotiations take a lot of time. It involves many people within your organization, with customers or suppliers, a lot of back and forth, many lead times, because things, of course, are critical and need to be carefully looked at. So overall, it is a burden. It is a bottleneck and problem for many companies. And on top of that, there are also risks of fines when it comes to violations, when you're not compliant with things. For example, in August next year, AI Act is coming into play with the fines now. So companies need to be compliant by then, and the fines can actually be quite significant. It can be a percentage of a company's revenue, so it is significant. For all of those sort of pain points, we created Dikio AI. Dikio AI is basically a platform which is trying to assist the legal professional, into their everyday work when it comes to all of those different challenges. It's basically an assistant which you can run on the web or on a mobile app, and it will help you with many different sort of use cases. So it's basically like a toolkit which is necessary for professionals. It helps in, the way I see it, it helps in three different major, let's say, directions. The first has to do with researching regulation and legislation. What is in effect when you have a complex legal question or a legal matter, what legislation is in effect, and how am I sure that I have actually found the right answer, the right regulation, which is relevant to my problem. So this is very, very interesting because this data is not easily, let's say, accessible. Laws, regulations are not easily accessible to everyone. Also, they're not easily accessible to public LLMs or to LLMs that are, off the shelf. And on top of that, court decisions are also not easy to get a hold of. On top of that, especially in Greece, you're all aware of laws that are constantly actually changing. So in order to figure out what exactly is right now in place and what is in effect is challenging by itself. So for this reason, you need a tool which has transparency, which has official citations and sources where you can double check the answers, and of course is always up to date with the latest legislation. A second sort of headache for companies from all different sizes has to do with contract management and legal document management, basically. So not only your legal department, but I'm sure you've seen like your procurement team that has agreements with all of your suppliers, your sales people who need to put in place contracts with your customers, negotiations. Things are changing also on a regulation levels, and then you need to see how it affects your organization. There's a ton of things that a company needs to sort of be on top of and waste a lot of resources on those in order to be able to remain compliant. So with VQAI, you can do many of those tasks automated. For example, you can check legal compliance of an agreement that you're going to send out to your customer or your supplier. You can identify risks, if there are risks in your contracts. You can even go further than that and be able to translate legal documents in any language that you want and to any language that you want. And you can anonymize data in order to be able to publish or circulate a sensitive document which needs to be anonymized as of GDPR regulation, and also be able to manage all of that big database of contracts that you have, find out what has been agreed with which customer, be able to extract data, create reports, and so on. Third pillar then has to do with actually creation of new legal documents. Again here, leveraging a customer's existing knowledge base, because they probably already have, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of contracts with, for example, your customer, and then be able to, with your customers, and then be able to extract data from those, ask AI to create a contract based on best practices or directions or instructions that you have given in the same type of customers, for example, from your existing customer base is very important. So be able to draft all sorts of different legal agreements by leveraging this type of knowledge, and also ensuring that the new agreement is compliant with regulation is key. A lot of speakers actually yesterday and today have mentioned that your AI system is as good as your data. And that's actually a big truth. So you probably heard them as well. They said garbage in, garbage out. It's the same, and it's even more critical for this type of use case. Getting a hold of the right data and keeping it up to date, especially when it comes to regulation and legislation, is key. And for Greece, actually, it's very challenging. So that was one of the major challenges that we had to sort of solve when it comes to data sources when we're building VQAI. For example, if you see it, I don't know, GPT or all the different LLMs that are out there, they're trained with the internet, right? So what does that mean? Maybe they go into forums, they have downloaded like ongoing discussions. Maybe they even accessed national legislation from a national printed office. I doubt, but maybe it is. But that's all in PDF. But there is no way that they are sure what regulation is in effect, because one law is changing the other, right? So you need to rely on specialized tools in order to be able to do a professional job. You cannot rely on the knowledge of generic, let's say, LLMs when it comes to such sensitive data. We have built an infrastructure which is actually updating daily from different data sources. The database, which then is being cross-checked for every answer in order to make sure that users are getting the right answer and they know what is actually in effect. And finally, another major, let's say, challenge when it comes to this type of specialized tools has to do with privacy and security. Documents and legal aspects by themselves are confidential and very sensitive, as you know. So using, again, public or semi-public, like generic LLMs with that is a big risk for a company, because you don't know where this information is going, if it is being used to train these tools, where it is being stored, how it's being secured, etc. So one of the big sort of challenges that this type of tools have to deal with has to do with this. They need to make sure that your data is secure, it is private, and it is compliant with GDPR and the rest of the regulation when it comes to how it is being managed. So it's a big sort of problem overall, and oops, I went a bit too far, but there we go. We're a new company, we're a small company. We've been only 6 months live, but since this is such a major issue, we have seen big traction already from the market. We already have like 10,000 users on the platform, many organizations from many different, from from startups and like individual lawyers all the way to like legal departments from very large organizations in Greece. They're using it. Right now we're answering like 2,000 legal questions per day. So it is, let's say, it is very, it's a problem which actually, affects many companies, and it needs to be addressed. We tried to do an ROI example, but it is almost self-explanatory if you consider how many people are involved directly or indirectly in your legal team, or if you are working with an external, like a law firm. The amount of resources that you spend there in order to make sure that you remain compliant, or you manage your contracts, etc. And then if you take on top of that the fines that are can come in the case of a non-compliance issue, it is easy to understand that this type of tools can justify their expense quite fast, because this can become a very significant burden for a company if things go wrong. I have tried to put together a demo. I hope it will play and you will be able to follow it through. So this is the environment of DKAI. Looks like GPT. It's basically a chat interface, but with different types of common workflows used by users that need this type of tasks in order to be able to make their life easy. So things like translation or anonymization. For the sake of this demo, I just typed a question which has to do with compliance of an AI system that I'm using in my company for HR screening and recruiting purposes, and try to understand what is in effect when it comes to regulation. If you saw, I was also able to pick the data source that is most relevant for what I want. For example, I wanted to make sure that this is in line with EU regulation, so I also selected EU. And then the tool basically starts creating a very detailed answer when it comes to the specific use case. For example, what is now in effect for the specific AI tool that I am using. As you see, it has citations from EU and also from national legislation in order to make sure me as a professional, I don't know, probably I could be like the lawyer in my legal department in my company. I would need to be able to cross-check, that this answer is correct, and that I'm actually solving the issue that I have. So here you see also like a breakdown of what is in effect, what are my obligations, and so different types of information that I can leverage, I can read and execute upon. And it's not only like high-level information, but if someone wants, they can even go further and try to dig deeper into further clarifications in order to understand exactly what needs to be done. For example, here I'm asking for what type of documentation and what type of conformity assessment I need to do as a professional who wants to remain compliant with AI Act. And then again, the system will go through the legislation in place, will analyze my specific use case, and then it will bring down the right result. And again, it's gonna provide types of citations on the public sources, the official sources, where this type of information is based upon. Actually, for the specific use cases now for compliance, it's we see that it is a very common now need from many companies. So apart from sort of offering a basic toolkit where you can sort of run through these processes, we are now building dedicated compliance modules for companies so that it guides them through the whole process. They're able to monitor all the time what is happening and what percentage they're compliant or not for all of their systems, for the different compliance regulations that are coming out, like AI Act, like ESG, like GDPR, etc. Right, I'm running out of time, but I'll show you just a final sort of scenario where I'm checking the legal compliance of a DPA, data processing agreement. For this specific one, I have on purpose removed some key clauses in order then to to see, how the system sort of reacts when it comes to missing fields, when it comes to missing requirements, legal requirements in a specific document. So here I could use like the generic prompt, but of course the more information you provide to this type of assistance, then the better results and more accurate results you'll be getting. So I'm asking basically that this DPA, which is I'm sharing with actual customers from VQAI, if there are any omissions or risks according to Greek or EU legislation. And eventually the tool will bring, will identify those risks, will give again the right citations, and it's going to give me a nice table of action items and things that I need to fix so that I have everything summarized and ready to fix. So okay, we can watch this, but maybe we can also go for questions in the sake of time.
Great. So I think you talked about how you're dealing with your data, about privacy and security, but as you can understand, okay, big private businesses most likely would like to have more regulated environment. So potentially we'll ask you to integrate with their corporate infrastructure. Is this something that you are seeing in the future?
Right. Security, confidentiality, and privacy of data is a major concern for all organizations, and especially for large organizations where they have extensive infrastructure, extensive personnel, processes, complicated processes, and customers. It's a key concern for them. Right now, there are actually no other legal assistants which are actually doing a more secure or on-prem, if you want, type of deployment. This is something that we are already building out because it is a common requirement from our customers. There are also other things that are assisting customers in this direction. For example, be able to leverage their existing knowledge base, but from their own sort of servers, so that they never actually leave their premises. So the AI models can actually access that and read that from there and not store it elsewhere. And also things like anonymization, so provide a layer of data, let's say, obfuscation, so that sensitive data does not circulate around. There's just a few of the things that you can do for large organizations in order to rest assured that that your data is secure.
And there's a second question talked about, okay, substituting a lawyer. I don't see it like that, but I see it as more enhancing, okay, a lawyer, okay, the platform. But so what about how do we picture this substitution of, of lawyers?
So first of all, it's not a lawyer. It's not a licensed lawyer. It cannot substitute a lawyer. The lawyer of the company has the actual responsibility in the end to put their signature that, this is the agreement that we're sending, I don't know, to the customer, or now we are compliant. So this is basically an assistant making that lawyer's life easier,
exactly.
So that they can handle more cases faster. They can help with the research so that they don't waste time, and they're sure that they found the right sources and the most relevant one for the use case from official sources.
Yeah. So definitely AI, in a sense, it's not about substitution, it's about enhancing, okay, us as humans. And there is also about the accuracy. How do we know that the result at the end is correct or accurate without some legal eyes on it?
So we've done extensive work in order to make sure that all the answers are actually attributed, let's say, to official sources and citations. So like that, you are eliminating hallucinations that common LLMs may create. We've seen cases from, I don't know, Australia or US or Italy actually lately, where they were using like, I don't know, ChatGPT or other common LLMs, and they were imagining sometimes court decisions that were basing the whole case out of that, which was non-existent. So we are, as I said, we are pulling all information from official sources, and then we have built all the infrastructure in order to make sure that answers are attributed to these specific sources. And so yes, and then we have monitoring tools both in production while we are producing the service, but also from the thousands or tens of thousands of customers that we have, monitoring feedback, monitoring quality. If there is an issue, we are looking at it right away, and basically this is how this works.
The algorithms learn, so Exactly. So thank you very much.
Thank you.